Welcome to Wednesday Live. Welcome to Homebuilt Workshop. How are you guys doing this fine morning? It's a little bit of a cold, wet, rainy, snowy, foggy couple of days here, but that's okay. That's what happens in springtime. So what do you guys have going on? What's going on in your world? Of course, unlike last week though, I didn't have coffee last week. We got some hot coffee today. A little bit chilly, but all is well. Alrighty. So, yeah, I want to know. What are you guys working on? What's going on? We're here for an hour or so. We'll hang out, talk shop, talk work stuff, talk whatever, really. Hope you guys are all doing great today, and hopefully things are going well. Wherever you are in this wide world, welcome. Welcome to the Wednesday Live. So, what's on the workbench? I always kind of like to start off with kind of what's going on, and what we're working on, and we kind of go from there. Right now, I am working on doing some guitar binding. This was a test piece. It's been a little while since I've done some binding, and so I thought it'd be a good idea to just kind of test out my processes and get a little refresher. Sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I like to, it's good to take a little bit of time and kind of just refresh if it's been a while since you haven't done something. Binding isn't really super difficult, but it's been a while since I've done it, so it took a little bit of time to practice and make sure I had my techniques in order. And then we got the binding installed on this cherry guitar that I'm working on. No, this is not the Great Guitar Build-Off build, but that one I'll be on shortly, probably in the next day or two. We'll get back to that. It has been hanging up in the house, waiting for the finish to cure for, it's going to be a little over a week right now. I need to give another day or two before we start level sanding the clear coat on that and get it all polished up. So I kind of got some time to go back and start working on this. Got some cleanup to do. I got to scrape all the binding on here. I'm going to probably do that when we're done hanging out for the day. And yeah, binding is fun. It's one of those things that, I don't know, if you don't do it a whole lot, or maybe you've never done it, it's kind of one of those things that can be somewhat intimidating for some reason, but it's not difficult. Harry Dude's here. Harry Dude says, "Hey dude, hope you're well." I am well, man. Hope things are going good over there. Hope you're keeping busy. How did your did I already ask you how your gig went, or was it the other day, huh? How did the gig go? Oh wait, yeah, we talked about that last week. Got some binding installed on this cherry guitar body. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. Binding is fun. It really is. Like I was saying, it's one of those things that, don't be afraid of it. Just, learn, practice, and it's really fun to do. I enjoy it. It's kind of neat. I did this one with just using acetone. If you've ever installed binding, you can use that bind all kind of glue. There's different adhesives and stuff. Some of them are kind of messy, some of the ones I've used before, but this one I used only acetone, where you just use the acetone to kind of melt it to the wood. That works really awesome, and it's probably my favorite way now after doing it. It's really neat because if you get an area where maybe there's a gap, maybe you didn't tape it good, maybe you didn't pre-bend it quite right or whatever, you can just dab a little acetone in there and basically remelt it to push down, wherever the gap is. I like that. It's pretty cool. So if you guys have been wanting to try binding, I definitely encourage you to give it a shot. Harry Dude says, does the acetone bleed out and affect the top for finishing? there are marks. You can see the tape mark on here where I had the tape. I don't believe that there's going to cause any issues. We still have to scrape the binding. We still have to sand this again. I'm going to, to clean up these tape marks and stuff. But the acetone really just dries into nothing, really, as far as I know. And I don't see any issue with the acetone. So, but like I said, I'm going to get to cleaning this up later. I don't see any issue, though. It's not like the binding has melted or anything and like leached into the surface, on the top. But overall, there's no issue with the acetone. It just melts the binding, capillary action, kind of wicks it down there, and it just fuses itself to the wood. Like no glue required. It's pretty cool. I've seen several people apply binding this way, and I've never really tried it. And so I did a couple of tests, and I see no issue with it at all. Yeah, I like it. I think you'd have to think about your process, like if you were going to dye it, right? So you'd have to make sure to pay attention. I don't know what would happen if I had some sort of dye or color on the top and then did the binding. But I believe I would do it the other way around. If I was going to dye the top of this, I would probably do the binding, then apply the top or the color, and then as you scrape the binding, it removes any dye or whatever from the binding. But honestly, I don't see any issue with using the binding. I really like that method, and that's going to probably be my go-to method from here on out. Alexander's here. Alexander says, "Morning, Jeff. How's the build-off going?" Man, the build-off it's going good. I'm getting impatient. I've got the finish sprayed. I finished spraying all of that last weekend. Like, not this past weekend, but the week before. It's been sitting for a week, about almost a week and a half. I need to let it sit for another day or two at least, and then I'm going to get to level sanding the surface. We'll get it all polished up, and then we can move on with the assembly. I can't wait. I'm super excited and a little bit nervous. There's something about the wet sanding process that always makes me a little nervous. I'm always worried, am I going to sand through? Is it going to... It's weird stuff my brain does. But overall, it's going really good. But it's just got to sit and letting that finish cure. And that's why I'm working on some other stuff. I got a couple of, did some tool maintenance and just kind of getting some things cleaned up and taken care of around the shop here, which is kind of nice also. For the last several weeks, I've been working on just that build. So things were kind of in a bit of a state of disarray. But I plan on getting back to that. Today I hope to finish scraping the binding, doing the finish sanding on this thing. Maybe I'll spray a coat of clear on it in the meantime. We'll see how that goes. I'm not quite sure, but I can't wait to get to the build off. I'll probably start I think by tomorrow I feel comfortable being able to start level sanding the finish. So hopefully by this weekend we'll get it all polished up and ready to move on and assemble. Steven says acetone is the best way to go. I agree. After doing this binding here, it's awesome. And I mentioned it earlier, but the thing that I'm finding that I like, I had a gap somewhere. Where was that gap? But anyway, there was a gap on here, and instead of trying to mash up a paste of binding and acetone stuff to fill the gap, I was able to you can just wick some acetone in there and push it back in and hold it, and it like remelts, and you can adjust it, and it's really cool. I've not seen where I can do that with glue, like some of the adhesives. You might be able to, but yeah, it's really cool. Little piece of tape on there yet. Yeah, I really dig the acetone, and like I said, it's my go-to method now. That's the only way I'm going to do it. So easy. I do highly recommend, if you're going to try it, pre-bend your binding first. I went around with just some tape and a heat gun, get it pre-bent as best you can first. But that makes it a lot easier. Don't try to, don't try to do that while you're trying to tape and glue and everything. And I think that would make that'd make it a little harder. But I pre-bent the binding, and then we attached it, and it's awesome. Doing a video on this as well, installing the binding. So that'll probably be out in, I don't know, a few weeks or something like that. Philip's here. Philip, hey all, what's up? Live from PA. Little chilly for May up here. How's everyone doing today? We're a little chilly today too. We're doing good though. We had some snow the last couple of days. It's been raining, foggy, and snow for the last, I don't know, 3 days or 4 days. Kind of a dreary few days really, but springtime. That's what we get. I think it was yesterday morning we had, I don't know, maybe 2 inches of just wet snow kind of on the grass and stuff like that. Not enough to, make the roads a mess or anything. But, yeah, May. We always seem to get snow in May. I think, like, our winter season is so long here. It's, after a while, you're just kind of like, is it going to end? But we're getting there. We're getting there. I remember a couple years ago, I think 2 years ago, not last year because everything was closed, like the next to last day of school for my daughter, they had a snow day. The next to last day. Crazy. It's not a surprise, but we're doing okay. Mr. Doughboy, what's up, man? Alexander says, good to hear that you can do stuff like this despite the price of lumber going up. Yeah, thankfully I don't need to buy a ton of lumber. Once in a while I still have to go buy stuff, but if I had to buy large quantities, I would probably definitely be rethinking, the project or whatever. But yeah, sometime it'll stabilize at some point. I don't know where, but Burnaby, good morning, everybody. What is going on? How are things going in your world? So what are you guys working on right now? What's on your workbench? What kind of projects do you guys have in the works? Cool, cool. What else? What else? So I mentioned I did, I've been kind of doing some shop cleanup, some tool maintenance and stuff like that. Another project that I have coming up is just a really simple router repair. A friend of mine gave me a router that he was getting rid of, and it needed a new cord. So got a replacement cord and got that sucker all replaced and fixed up. And it just, it's one of those things that if you encounter that problem, a lot of people might want to just throw the thing away, right? Because it's going bad. But it's really easy if you need to replace a cord. So that's another quick video coming up. Just doing some, replacing this cord, fixing up an old tool so that you can keep using it instead of throwing it out and having to buy a new one. Way cheaper and a good way to save some money. Harry Dude says, I'm currently doing this awesome fun pastime known as bookkeeping. Do not recommend. I feel your pain. I have to do some of that today too. I try to do, all that stuff each month, business stuff and personal stuff, and yeah, I keep putting it off, and I gotta get to it. Not fun, but a necessary part of, running a business and even, in your own personal finances. You gotta take care of stuff and keep track of things. Not fun, but necessary. Coffee's good today. Anthony says to Harry, dude, try losing money on the stock market instead. Way more exciting. No, No. Nobody wants to lose money. Not exciting at all. Burnaby says, I'm waiting for a batch of high carbon steel from a new supplier. So far, so good. Cool. You got some projects in the works? Alexander, I've been finished with repairing the flood damages. Gonna hold off with doing the wood flooring until the finances are good enough. Nice. I'm glad you got most of your work done. That's good. That's good to know. Have that done. Yeah, I can imagine wood flooring is probably it's probably gone up. I'm guessing as well. I mean, I haven't priced any of that stuff, but yeah, what a drag. I'm glad you got that under control, though. You know, I keep hearing a lot about this wood, you know, the price of lumber and things. You hear about it everywhere, and I know it's, you know, it's here as well and everything. But I haven't actually been to the store, you know, the big box stores or anything to take a look at any of that stuff. So maybe I might have to just take a ride into town one of these days and just go look and see what it is in our area, because I honestly don't know. I'd imagine it's on par with everybody else, but I haven't looked at it myself. Poor Conservative! Hiya, folks! And Jeff. What is going on, man? All of your barbecue stuff has been making me super hungry recently. Poor Conservative's got some barbecue stuff he's been putting up on YouTube, so if you guys want to check out some tasty barbecue stuff, go hit him up. Alexander, to be honest, life is kind of uneventful for me right now. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. It kind of just means things are going smooth, I hope. Burnaby, remodeling projects keep getting put off. I've heard that from quite a lot of people. Basically due to the price of everything. You know, it's so hard to be able to pay these, you know, the prices of everything right now. It's crazy. Alexander, morning TPC. Burnaby, hey there TPC. Poor Conservative says, editing a new one today. Cool, I'll check it out. Poor Conservative, I don't think you were here a few minutes ago when we were talking binding. Do you have a preferred method of installing binding? Do you use the glue? Do you use acetone? What's your, do you have a preferred way? I did this one using just the acetone. It came out awesome. I mean, it's just been on tape, so you can still see all the tape marks, but just the acetone. I will never use the glue again. Alexander says, TPC makes some bomb goulash and corned beef. I know from following his recipes. Nice. I haven't had goulash in a long time. That sounds good. Silent H, trying to get my GGBO project off the ground. You can do it. You can do it. We only got like 2 months left, so don't put it off. Go for it. You got this. Mine is getting closer. The finish will be cured this week, and I will be back on level sanding and polishing it tomorrow or maybe Friday. So get after it. I'm going to push you because you can do it. Poor Conservative says I only use wood binding. Okay. That I have never used wood binding. I've only used the plastic, or the, what is that stuff called? Melts in the acetone. It's like a plastic. I don't know. TPC. Thanks, Alexander. Giovanni's here. Giovanni. Good evening, Bob Marley. Oh, Giovanni. Alexander says, has anyone else been having some good eats lately? Me? I have. Poor conservative, and I have poor conservative to thank for this because he got me hungry for it. I think it was last week. He did like a pulled pork recipe video, and it got me hungry for pulled pork. So for Mother's Day, I made this, good size pork roast and put it in the smoker and did some tasty pulled pork. Man, was it good. I think I have just a little bit more of that left. I might have that for lunch today. And Silent H, thanks. You got this, man. Go do it. Burnaby says, my friend just scored a Parker guitar. What do you think of them? I have one. It's not a lefty, it's a righty. I can't play it or anything, but a friend of mine gave it to me. It was a junky one. He kind of gave it to me for parts, but I ended up kind of piecing it together. The wiring was a mess and everything. I think me personally, they're not my favorite guitar. I don't know why, but I know people that play them as their main instrument, and they sound just fine. There's something weird about the headstock to me, though. The one that I have has been broken and repaired badly. I wish I would have got it before it was repaired while it was still broken, so that it could have been fixed maybe a little better. That's my only thing, though. Just that headstock, just the way that, that little thin thing there. I don't know. This one's kind of cool. I don't remember what model it is, though, but it has a factory piezo bridge in there, along with, I think, 2 humbuckers. It's kind of interesting. Actually, I don't think the piezo bridge pickup works. Not the bridge pickup. It's like the saddles. You know what I mean? So I've been meaning to get back to that, but I can't play it or anything, so I haven't messed with it too much. But Burnaby, I don't know. I'm not super familiar with them. I don't have any issue with them, honestly. But yeah. Philip says, have you done any new 3D printing lately? Not in the last 4 or 5 days. I don't think I've made anything. Because I'm in the middle of editing some different videos, and some of the prints that I want to make some more of those fretboard radius blocks, and it's a really long print process, and the printer's right next to the computer. So when I'm editing, if I need to do voiceover, I don't want the printer to be buzzing away. So I'm going to wait for a day that maybe when I'm working on this build-off guitar in the next day or two, I might run another one of those blocks, sanding blocks. But really, that's mainly why, because I just been doing voiceover video editing stuff, and I just don't want that background noise running. And it's a really long print, so I got to try to plan the day. It takes all day to print. But I will get back to some. Poor Conservative just cut some Wenge binding for the fretboard of the 9-string. Ooh, nice. So when you cut the binding, wooden binding, do you just maybe resaw it on, I don't know, the table saw, or do you use the bandsaw? How do you cut it down? What's your method? I think if I had to do it right now, I'd probably bandsaw some strips and then run it through the drum sander. No, like I say, I haven't done it myself, so I'm trying to think through, if I was going to, how would I do that? And that's probably would be my method right now. Maybe the table saw to cut the thin strips. I don't know. But I would definitely cut it and then run it through the drum sander. But just curious what your process is. Giovanni, I'm glad you're doing well, my friend. Poor Conservative, yum. Yeah, it was so good. Harry Dude says, Parkwood guitars glued on frets? I heard, are they all glued on? I wonder. I'm not sure. I'll have to investigate that one that I have sitting on the rack. Burnaby says, I freaked out on how light it is. Yes, it is, actually. That one that I have, again, I can't remember the model. It's not the Fly. I know that. But I remember it being pretty. I haven't messed with it in months, really. But Giovanni, by the way, you didn't bring the thermos with fresh beer. Whoosh. Not fresh beer, but fresh coffee. Oh, Burnaby, I believe it's all carbon fiber. Oh, do you know what model it is? Because the one that I have is not, I don't think, it's not that light. I don't think it's carbon fiber. I'd be curious to know what model. What are the flies made out of? You guys know? I'm not an expert on Parker. Port Conservator says I cut it to 1/4 inch, then drum sander or planer. Gotcha. Yeah. That would be my process, I think. Drum sander. And then do you wet it or steam it or whatever when you're bending it? Because I just did this binding, and of course, you know, the plastic or whatever that's called. I forget what it's called. I just use a heat gun, you know, to bend it around. But I imagine wood, you'd have to soak it maybe so you can bend it or steam it. I would think that would be the method. I'll have to try wood sometime. After doing this one and doing the acetone and seeing how easy it really is, it makes me want to do binding a lot more. So I can see me maybe experimenting with some wood, learning how to cut and prep the wood, and yeah, it's really, the last guitar I did, I used the glue, and that was kind of my training lesson, maybe, I don't know. That was my going to school to learn binding, and the glue was kind of messy. I mean, it works fine, but after doing this one with just the acetone, man, what a difference. It is so cool. Giovanni, when do you decide to make a guitar body entirely in resin? It's not out of the question. I mean, I think people have done it, so I don't think it'd be, you know, never before seen, but I think it'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun to try. Rogue says, hey guys, good to see you. What's going on, Rogue? Hope you're doing well. What's going on in your world? How have you been? Gina's here. Gina says, oh, I almost missed it. Yes, you almost missed it, but we're glad you're here. Port Conservative, yep. Wet and woodbender, yep. I can imagine that would work just fine. Giovanni, hi Gina. I was preparing for your absence to give courage to this long-haired. I know. Look at this. I gotta get rid of. I can grab it. Ow. I gotta trim that down. Harry Dude says, wood binding with multiple layers of veneers would look cool. Light, dark, light woods. Yeah, I really like those. On this one, I even thought, after I got it in place, I really liked the look of this. I know what this color is going to do when I put finish on it. I almost wish I'd have done some sort of a purfling on here too. Or maybe a double layer binding or something. It would have been kind of cool. I think this is going to look awesome anyway. But yeah, I like the multiple layers. Port Conservative, the missus is keeping an eye on you. Yeah, she's got to keep me in line. That's okay. Somebody's got to do it, right? Rogue says, living the dream, man. Helped my buddy get an old bike running and troubleshoot the electrical system. It was fun. Like an old dirt bike or something? Motorcycle? Old dirt bikes are fun. That's awesome. Sounds like a cool project. It's always cool to get them running and then, you know, take them for their kind of initial spin around the yard or whatever. It's kind of cool because, you know, you spent whatever, you know, however many hours or days even working on something, and when you actually get it to crank up, it's pretty cool. TPC, whip cracking mama. Gina says I have to make sure he's working. Yes, we're working hard right now. Can't you tell? Look at me. I'm breaking a sweat. Alexander, I've never seen you do anything crude in these streams ever. No, that's the you know, I don't need that. You know, we don't have to go that route. We can have fun without. There, see, Gina, we're doing just fine. Thanks, Alexander. Appreciate that, though. Yeah, that's not the you know, the point of these. You know, the point of these is to hang out with you guys. A Rogue says 80s Kawasaki Vulcan. Cool. Yeah, those old bikes are awesome. I used to have, what was that? What year was that? 78 or 79? It's a Yamaha. What was that? I want to say it was an XJ something, but I can't remember if it was an XJ. I think it was. And then I had an 84 Seika 750. That was pretty fun. I think it was 84, maybe 86. I don't remember. That was a pretty fun bike too. Kind of I don't know, pre-sport bike kind of thing. You know, no fairing or anything. Actually, I had the fairing, but it had been wrecked when I got it. And so I, you know, my brother and I repainted it and everything, and got it all up and running. And I rode it around for a few years, and it was a fun one. Burnaby says, I messaged him, just waiting for a response. He said it was a 10 grand guitar when released in the 90s, but those are his claims. I know nothing about that. Wow, that's a lot. A guitar that cost 10 grand in the 90s even, right? So you can imagine what it was now. Yeah, I'll be interested. Keep us updated if he lets you know what model it is. TPC to Rogue Vulcan cruiser bike. Yeah, the Vulcan I think is a cruiser. Something like that. Motorcycles are fun. I haven't had one in years, and honestly, I miss riding one. Need to get one. Alexander says, had a 51 Indian Chief around once upon a time. The things that got away. Yeah, I remember my dad talking about an Indian that he used to have. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to ask him. But he said it was a beast. Like, he said it was pretty fast. Yep. Yeah, I should get on the lookout for another bike. Definitely a fun way to get around, honestly. And yeah. Everybody needs a motorcycle. Rogue says, first time I ever really dove into one. Figured it out on the fly. Some bumps along the way, but we got it. That's the important part. As long as you got it figured out. And, you know, it seems like everything, kind of like working on a guitar, right? You learn something every time. Yeah, same thing with working on a motorcycle. You know, different models, different makes, different years. You always kind of learn something. And you add that to your, you know, to your brain. For the next time around, and that's how we learn. You know, just tear into it. That's awesome. I'm glad you got it going. Alexander, it's been a while since I've taken a trip anywhere. Me too. Haven't really been anywhere, which for me, I don't mind. I'm not one that goes too many places anyway. But yeah, it's been a little while. And Neptunes is here. Neptunes, hello, hello. How is everyone? How are you, Jeff? I am good, my friend. How are you? I'm glad you're able to tune in. How are things down there, down south? How you guys doing down that way? Are you warming up? Harry Dude says, grew up around motorbikes. My dad used to restore them, but when I was learning to ride, I stacked 2 out of the first 3 times on a bike and can't ride now. Bike landed on my foot. Ouch. Somebody was pulling in. I heard geese honking and then tire tracks. Ouch. That's never fun. So I remember the first time when I first learned how to ride, it was on an old 1976 KE 100. It was a bike that my cousins had, kind of one of those barn find things that you put, found it in a barn and got it up and running and everything. And when I was learning how to ride, I kept getting, what was that? Was it 1 down, 4 up, maybe? And I kept getting in like the wrong gear. And it would stall every time, probably 30 times because I'm trying to take off in, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd gear. And finally I realized what I was doing, and that was it. Yeah, it took a little while and a little bit of frustration because I didn't understand what I was doing wrong and why it kept stalling. Gina says, I mind. I love to travel. I'm sorry. Now, Burnaby, I believe Kawasaki was trying to compete with the VMAX in those days. I think so. Everybody was kind of in the war, for the fastest, whatever, most powerful something. KK's here. KK says, hello, ladies and gents. I hope you all feel fine. We send our loving to you brothers from Greece. KK, it's another time here. Enjoy, my friend Jeff. Rock on. Right on, man. Glad you're able to tune in. Hopefully everything is going great over there. And, hope you're doing well. Neptunes, I'm good. Yeah, it's starting to get hot. Raining today, though. Yeah, same here. We've had 3 or 4 days of rainy, dreary. We had a couple inches of snow yesterday. Of course, that wet, soggy spring snow, so it melted right away. But it's been kind of foggy and overcast today. But I think it almost looks like the sun might be coming out. I don't want to say it too loud, but I think by today's still be cooler in the 40s maybe, and then we warm up into the 60s for the next 3 or 4 days. Rogue says, I gotta run. Just wanted to say hi. Got a project I've been procrastinating long enough. Have a great week, guys. Right on, Rogue. Good luck on your project. You can do it. Don't put it off. Get her done. Have a good one, man. Neptunes, LOL, Gina. How are you? TPC, same to you, KK. Gina, have a great week. Rogue. Poor Conservative laid down a VMAX at 130. Oh, man. That's... I'm glad you're okay from that one. That sounds like a bad day. Never done that. I've laid them down, but, that's because I'm doing silly stuff on a dirt road or something like that. Riding through a field, a wet, soggy field. I remember that one time, riding down through a soggy, wet field with a street bike. And it was like on a side hill, and I was going along, and it just, went out from under me. But I wasn't going fast or anything, and we just kind of slid down the grass. But yeah, I thankfully say that I've never laid one down on pavement. Alexander says, no, it's just I feel like it would be wise to take another road trip around the country, just in case something silly happens later on down the road. Yeah, there's never... Taking a ride across the country is definitely... It's fun. You get to see a lot of different, areas and different places and things, and there is some, it's worth doing. I do agree with you there. I say I don't like to travel much, and and I really don't. But it is fun, when you get out there on the road and you just to see all the different places and things. That I do enjoy. Burnaby says procrastinating is the devil's work. Yes. Don't procrastinate. Get after it. KK, yeah, we are doing great. Wish the best for you. TPC, hello, bro. Thanks a lot, KK. Harry Duke says, I'm too lazy to procrastinate. I like that. Ain't nobody got time for that. TPC, yep, Burnaby. Gina says to Neptune, I'm doing good, just trying to work while I listen to Jeff talk. Well, that's going to be hard. Trying to do work and things while someone's yapping in your ear. With nothing interesting. Gina says, as long as we're going to PA, otherwise he's not a fan. TPC, Jeff, I laid it down in the grass next to the highway, skipped 3 times and into a 12-foot chain link fence. It was like hitting a big pillow. Cracked tailbone and torn ligaments and ankle. Ah. So like I bet the fence gave, huh? That's what felt kind of pillow-like because you went whoop into the fence. At least you didn't smash into like, I don't know, a tree or something. Yeah. At least you didn't get busted up worse than that. That's a good thing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was the worst. You know, I used to ride dirt bikes a lot, and when I lived back east, and you know, I wiped out on those all the time. You know, going over a ditch and you know, you flip over or fly off. You know, on a trail, side hill, whatever. But thankfully, street bike wise, it wasn't. You know, I never had anything super bad. Now, bicycle wise, I used to ride bike a lot, mountain bikes and things. I don't know how many times I've fallen off those. Rogue, I'm all over it. Leaving any second. Promise. No rush. Gina, ouch. TPC, yeah, I folded it in half. I bet. I bet. Ah. Yeah, man. Ouch. That hurts just thinking about it. All I can say is, I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, I haven't looked in a long time. I used to look a lot, you know, to find motorcycles for sale and stuff like that, but I should start looking around a little bit more and find one to cruise around on. Let's see. What else is going on, guys? TPC says, did much worse to myself. Used to be an adrenaline junkie. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, you know, there's something fun. I definitely can agree with adrenaline junkie stuff. Yeah. I had buddies who were into the sport bikes and stuff like that back in the, this is back in the 90s. And, yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to endorse any of that at the moment. Alexander says, what color are you planning on painting the guitar? Are you talking about this guy here? This one's not going to get anything. After I clean up all this tape marks and things, we're going to scrape the binding. This one is going to get nothing. It's just going to get a clear coat on there, nice glossy clear. Probably the same one that I put on the Great Guitar build-off guitar, but I'm going to leave this wood natural. This is, if you hadn't heard me talk about this one before, this is a personal build for me, and this wood is solid cherry, and it's wood that my grandpa had. It was cut from his land. Honestly, I don't know how long ago. I want to say probably at least 30 years or more. And he had this board sitting up in his attic for probably that long. And so I want to retain. I don't want to cover it up. There's a few imperfections and things in here. You know, some staining, some marks. But I'm going to keep all of that, and I'm just going to keep the wood just like it is. You know, there's like little checking and stuff. This has all been filled, and even the knot up here. I wish I'd have put it down here, but I didn't. So, but it doesn't go all the way through, so I'm not worried about it affecting, you know, the strength in the neck pocket or anything. So this one's just going to stay natural. The neck that I made for it is also made out of cherry. I didn't have enough of this exact same board to build the neck from it, but I did buy a piece of cherry, and I've made the neck out of cherry. So it's going to be completely, you know, a solid cherry guitar, solid cherry neck. The neck's got a rosewood fretboard, but, and yeah, it's going to be, you know, just the binding, plain cherry wood. You know, of course, when you put a finish on cherry, it kind of it's going to darken, and kind of that reddish kind of brown color. You know, it's going to look cool, I think. And I went back and forth a lot on what I was going to do with this one for the finish. You know, as far as stain or anything, I thought about staining it, but then really I wanted to keep it cherry. I wanted to keep it looking like cherry. The whole thing kind of is as a tribute, maybe? I don't know if that's the right word, but a tribute to the board that my grandpa saved. He saved it for a reason. I don't know what that is because, well, I can't ask him about that. But he saved that sucker for a reason, and he kept it up there in the attic. I imagine he intended to make something cool out of it. So that's what I'm going to do. Man, it still smells awesome. I love the smell of cherry. And so yeah, this is just going to get it clear, and we're going to rock it. I got, of course we got the cream binding. I got cream pickups. I think it's going to look pretty cool. We're going to do chrome hardware. I haven't decided on knobs and stuff yet. I don't know. I might just keep them chrome to match the bridge and the tuners. But I think it's going to be cool. And this one's just going to be special to me. So Alexander, hopefully that answers your question. This one's going to stay all natural. Neptune says, "Hey everyone, help Jeff out if you haven't already. Hit that like button." Bam. Yes, apparently, when the the more likes, right there, tells YouTube that, hey, this is a worthy stream to watch. So if you're watching this right now, just click the like button if you haven't already. Poor conservative dirt bikes, BMX, skateboard, skydiving. I did a lot. Skydiving, I haven't done that one. But I did dirt bikes. I did BMX. I did mountain bikes. Dune buggies. I got a scar. You can't see it right now, but or is it up here? It's down here. There's a scar. If this wasn't here, you'd be able to see it from the dune buggies. But skateboards I could never do. I can't even stand on one. I can barely even look at a skateboard without falling. Or skydiving. Never tried that. I don't know about that one. Maybe, I don't know. Here's something I haven't done, and I bet you guys haven't done it in a while. If you have, let me know. But I went roller skating last weekend. My daughter had a birthday party, and it was a skating place, and she yelled at me and told me I needed to get skates and get out there and try to help her. So we were both. She can't skate really all that well, and neither can I. We were a disaster, but we made it. I did fall once, and my wrist still hurts. Oh boy. Anyway, KK. Oh, Neptune says, I like cherries. I like cherry flavored things, but I don't like actual cherries. Isn't that weird? KK, left hand guitar. Yes, sir. It is. This will be me. Well, not this deal, but yes, it's a lefty. This one is. My great guitar build-off guitar is a righty, and that one will not be staying around when it's done. But yeah, this one's a lefty. Alexander, I used to listen to rock and metal real loud and to tune out other loud noises. I end up having temporary tinnitus from it. You're all in until something bad happens sometimes. Yeah, I can tell you that I do have tinnitus once in a while. I'll hear that ringing. I spend a lot of not only listening to rock and metal, but playing rock and metal, and I didn't use ear protection. Thousands of shows. Thousands? Yeah. Thousands of shows and practices together. Yeah. Neptune says to TPC, I'd love to try skydiving, but knowing me, I would get hooked and can't afford it with all my other interests. Poor Conservative says that guitar is going to be nice. Thanks, man. I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to get it together. Like I said, I know the thing has imperfections. It's not the perfectly clear piece of wood, but honestly, for this one, I don't care. I really don't. I'm embracing them, and I hope that that it's a good. It ends up being a good representation of this board that my grandpa chose to save in the attic for a lot of years, and really that's why. And even the body, it's not even a two. I think it's a 4-piece body, because there was some. These boards were originally just wide enough for me to get a 2-piece out of. But there was some, I don't even remember now, there was some sort of imperfection in there that was pretty, would have been hard to work with, so I had to rip those down and glue them up. So it's not even like a nice 2-piece body. But I think the grain match is pretty well, you can see it, right? You can see there's their center line, and there's one there, and there's another one over here. But I think overall the joints came out really well. And it doesn't like jump out that it's multiple pieces. It may pop a little more that way when you get finish on it, but I'm pretty happy with the grain pattern on there right now, even though it is 4 pieces. You can see a little more on the back, but I can't wait to get some finish on this and get it together. It's not at the front of my list, but it's one of those that I'm working on in between. Like the binding. I'm going to do a little binding install video on installing that binding with the acetone, and yeah. TPC, I hear you, Neptunes. We used to go to Globe Mine Airport in Arizona to skydive. Rogue says, I used to love skating in the whole culture, but I got way too heavy and couldn't tighten the trucks up enough. I couldn't do, like the skateboards. Oh, man. Let's see, when was that? About 2005-ish? For several years in there, honestly. I kind of got back into BMX again, and we used to go to all the skate parks and, the dirt jump places and all that. And but a buddy of mine skated, and probably still does. And we were at one of the skate parks, and I don't remember why, but for some reason I was going to try to ride his board. I wasn't even standing on it all the way, and the thing was gone out from under me, and I'm laying on my back in the middle of the parking lot, and it was horrible. So now I know that I don't need a skateboard. It was very similar to when I had roller skates on the other day, but at least then I can sort of kind of keep my balance, because I've done some of that, some skating before, some rollerblading and icing, and I'm not good at all, but I haven't done that in like 20 plus years. So it's kind of cool to put on skates and be out there with my daughter, and it's kind of neat. KK, Jimmy H, and Paul Mick. Gina says, it was loud even with ear protection. I still get ringing sometimes. You do? Mine ring most of the time. Like if it's super quiet, I can hear it. It doesn't affect me at the moment, but when it's super quiet, my ears are ee. Neptune's the hairy dude. That's awesome. Oh, hairy dude, I missed your comment. Sorry about that. Hairy dude says, started doing 3D modeling with parametric design after you spoke about your radius sanding blocks. Made a pickup routing template that I enter the numbers and it works it all out itself. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, there is we talked about this, but designing parametrically to where you can change stuff. It's so cool. It's kind of hard to grasp at first, and you have to think about that going in, but that's awesome, man. Yes, there's a coolness. I always try to start with that first. You know, what parameters can I set that I might want to change? And when I'm drawing something in, if I think that I'm going to want to be able to change that later, I go in and I edit that parameter so that I can adjust it, and it's way cool. I think that's the way to go. Nevin says, I used to skateboard all over when I was a kid. Never did the tricks though. Yeah. I always wanted to, but I don't know. I don't have that sort of balance for whatever reason. I don't know why. KK says, my son says, happy birthday to your daughter. He's 12 years old now and plays heavy metal with my guitar. What can I do? Nice. That's awesome. Tell him thank you. Her birthday was a couple months ago, but... Oh, it wasn't her birthday. So that's right. Apparently I wasn't. My bad. But yes, thank you. The birthday party was for one of her school friends. It's all good. You got a rocker. That's awesome. Alexander, I couldn't do basketball because almost everyone I tried to compete with in school was 6 foot something. I was darn good at soccer and swimming though. I love swimming. I really do. Yeah, I never did the school sports, any of that stuff. I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. Poor conservative. Yeah, we have a bit of tinnitus. Yes, we probably do. Some of us more than I'm thinking. TPC, that's awesome, Alexander. That is awesome. You got a rocker on your hands. Nothing wrong with that? Now you're going to have to build him a guitar so he can have his own. Pork serves. Jeff would be a human pike in the water. I grew up when I used to be in Boy Scouts, and we'd always do they'd have like the summer camps, like the week or two long deals, and it was always on a lake. And I did all the swimming badges and the life saving badges and lifeguarding stuff. I think we had to swim a mile one time, and that was kind of rough. But I always enjoyed swimming. I really did. I still do, but I just don't get to do it much because there's really nowhere around here to swim too much. I mean, we do have a pond, and I've swam in it before, but it's got those catfish stuff in there, so they keep the water all stirred up all the time, so it's always like a mud bath. Neptune, swimming is the best, water is life. KK, yeah, he plays Metallica, Megadeth, Motorhead, AC/DC. I think he's better than I am. Well, you should challenge him. Pick a song, and that'd be kind of fun. Poor Conservative says we have a pool. Wish we had a pool. Gina says we can get a summer pool pass through the Y. Well, maybe we should. Someday, eventually, we'll have warm weather where we can do stuff in the warm outside waters. Not right now, though. Awesome. Well, guys, we are coming up on the hour, and that means I got to start scraping some binding. So, I believe it's time to kind of start winding this down. Striker says thanks. Right on. Yeah, we need to wrap this up, I think, and try to get back to work so that, so Gina can get back to work. Good hang today, guys. Oh, Alexander says, I had plenty of good memories of trying and failing to swim to Canada from Cleveland to Edgewater Park. Lots of getting screamed at, you don't have a passport. How long of a swim is that? Pork says, paint Jeff's back green so he can be a skinny pike. Gina says there are several indoor pools too. Yeah, but they all have... You have to be like a member of some gym or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's for another time, I think. Gina says, I'll get right on that. Great, now I'm going to be green next time. Rogue says, take it easy, guys. Later, Jeff. Always a pleasure. Thank you, my friend. And thank you all for hanging out today. Always a good one. And, yeah, hope you guys have an amazing week. Don't procrastinate on your projects. If you got something in the works, go get it done. I know you guys can do this. Neptune says, everyone have a great day. Alexander, oh, I don't know. I was a naive kid and was no obstacle big enough. Steven says, have fun scraping. Yes, I will. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. Alexander, thanks for the chat. See you later. Harry Dude, cheers, folks. Catch you next week. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you guys for hanging out. And also, look, there we go. The number went up for hitting that like button. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Thank you.